At one point, it only was supposed to fit maybe 8 people. At one point, we had 16 in there.
Keep going.
I've got a new special project I've been conceiving of with one of our creative directors, but I can't say much about it.
Hello, Mech fans. This is Duncan Fisher. Hold on firmly to your mana potions, fireballs, and familiars, because you are tuning in to your regularly scheduled episode of the First Circuit Podcast.
And welcome to episode 100, and today we're doing something actually different. We're using Skype, and today's hosts are Byter,
Clark,
Ian,
I am also using Skype,
and myself, Old Bob 10025. I need something to say. And our special guest is Mitch Gitelman from Harebrained Schemes. There you go. Words of thanks for 100 episodes. I want to thank everyone for listening to this old guy talk about Battletech, and I hope to bring more players into the fandom, as well as my co-hosts Byter, Ian, Larsh, and our older members like Aethermech, Batduck, Commander Lemming, Snuggles Time, and MBT 808. This podcast would not have been possible without your help. Thank you for making this an enjoyable learning experience for all of us involved, and I hope it was the same for you in the 100 episodes we have created together, and thank you as well for all the new friendships that have been formed. And to the listeners of the podcast, your comments helped form the First Circuit Podcast into what it is today. Thank you from the bottom of our hearts, and for what you have shown us to improve the podcast, and for your input into the podcast as well. I hope the next 100 episodes will be just as enjoyable for us all.
Thank you very much. So for today, the same you've probably seen a couple of times from past episodes, we've got a special guest. So obviously we're not going to talk about all the boring stuff that happens to Mechwarrior Online, and no offense, Mitch, Battletech, and rather we're going to focus on the much more exciting guest we've got sitting here. All right.
Who? Did we get Weissman?
Yes, I think he's behind you, right?
Yeah. Surprise. Eek. Surprise genius. Boom.
I was Weissman all along.
And I would have made Golden Arcana work if it weren't for you meddling kids.
All right. You threw me off script, goddammit.
Welcome to the rest of the show, sport.
Exactly. I told you, man.
Remember what Rorschach said when he was in the prison? I'm not in here with you, you're in here with me. Yeah.
Obviously. All right, Mitch. So open-ended question for the
Force
first round.
against the unshakable object. The force of Mitch going off script and a German wanting to stay off.
All right. I like my structures. Don't force me off it. All right, Mitch, for the people who don't know you, who are you and why should we know about you?
Yeah, why should you? Why should you? My name is Mitch Gitelman, and I run a little company called Harebrained Schemes here in the suburbs of Seattle, Washington, and we make video games. And a few years ago, we ran a Kickstarter for a game called Battletech, and then we made it. And like that, and the fans rallied to us, and good God, we raised like $3.6 million.
Damn,
something like that. Yeah, and that was cool. And then we were off to the races. Like, oh crap! Now we actually have to deliver that. And so we made that, and luckily, one of the key figures on that game was the guy who created Battletech, Jordan Weissman. So he knew one or two things about battle mechs. And, then at the helm was a guy named Mike McCain, who was the game director for what we call the vanilla game. And he just elevated it to a new level from my point of view and really delivered on the promise. So here we are. This is, I can't remember, my 6th Battletech game, I think. I don't remember, in the Mechwarrior universe.
What ones did you do?
I don't know. I don't have an IMDb page. I can't. Or what do you call that? A Wikipedia page. I don't know. I don't have any reference. So hang on a minute. I did my first Battletech. My first connection with Battletech was the Battletech pods. You familiar with those?
Oh, yeah. Played those every day.
And the first time I ever saw them was when it was at a Consumer Electronics show in Chicago. And I stood in line to get into one. Jordan was showing them off to try and attract investors. And but he was really showing the vision of them. They were open, so you would sit in it. It was made of plywood. He built it in his garage. I'm sure he did. He's actually a very handy person, crafty, and so it was this plywood box. It was like a coffin with joysticks in it, and I got into it. And I started playing it, and it had, if you guys know it, the final version of the pod had a joystick and a throttle and 2-foot pedals and 2 multifunctional displays and 2 what do they call it? Video screens. And super cool, right? And everything's functional. And he had this beautiful brochure for investors. Sorry, this is a memory I've never shared with anybody. So he just put together this beautiful package explaining what he was doing based on the best-selling board game and blah, blah, blah. And I remember getting out of it and walking up to him and shaking his hand. And I said, "Hi, I'm Mitch Gitelman. We're going to be working together."
Quite literally, or in the...
What do you mean? No, that's what I said. That's exactly.
Yeah.
I'm only literal. Remember, man, I only do literal. So no, everything is stupid and everything happened. So, and then we played around with the Battletech centers a little bit. I wanted to get in there and retool how the experience of the Battletech centers work. But then some businessy things happened, and we didn't get a chance to really tightly work together. It wasn't until he wanted to work on a game that is now called Crimson Skies.
Oh yeah, good game.
So he brought me into FASA Studio in Chicago. 1996-ish, something like that, and to conceive of that game. He had a vision already, and then I immediately went, oh, it's the shadow, but in the sky. It's like, yes, that's, that kind of thing, and we instantly bonded, and so it's like, all right, over that game. I mean, we were already, the type of people that liked hanging out together, but I said, okay, just don't put me on Battletech. Right? Like, I want to come work at this company and I want to work on this game, but not Battletech. Why? Because Battletech's fucking stupid, Jordan. Now, relax. I know it's the 100th podcast, but it gets better. Right? Now, remember, think back with me now. This was a job interview.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Right? This is
you
a
actually
job
said that
interview.
when he was there? You said Battletech was...
Everything is literal. What did I just fucking tell you? Everything I say really happened. It's stupid, but it happened.
Oh, my God.
So, yeah, that happened. It's actually worse than that, but I can't tell you the rest of the story. But that one, I can't tell you. But so he's like, well, why is Battletech stupid? And I told him. Anyway, 3 months later, I was working on Mech Commander.
Wow.
Yeah, literally, that really happened. Yeah. It's like, I've got this game I've been working on. It's a real time. Command and Conquer? Yeah, I know Command and Conquer. I played Warcraft. Yeah, we've got a Battletech game in that. Yeah, I heard that, development isn't going real well. Yeah, it's not. Can you go fix that, please? And so my entry into Battletech was saying I never want to make Battletech, and then being put on a game that I didn't want to make that was broken, and they said, fix it, please. That's my entry into this lifestyle.
I'm curious, so at the time, did you actually have credentials to actually be in type of that industry, or just you just walked in and said, "Hey, I'm here"?
Wait, I got to tell my wife what that question was. Sorry. Okay. Hey, can you hear us? Oh, damn it! Because I wanted to tell her what were my credentials at the time. None.
None.
I had no credentials. No. I was a complete fraud. That's the answer.
Okay.
No. I was a fraud. Remember I was telling you how my first game was a PlayStation 1 first wave title? That was my first game. It was a clusterfuck. It was unbelievably bad. But it was a real learning experience, to be sure. And then after that, I joined a little indie game company in Chicago and became the creative director of it. Because, sure, why not, you know? And he says he's his creative director. And so I made Where's Waldo video games. I made games based on an Arnold Schwarzenegger movie. And I made those Sillywood games, like the games where when DVDs were first invented and they were live action games.
Yeah. Yeah, I know those.
Anyway, okay. Where the hell were we? Anyway, but I didn't know how to use a computer. I had never made a video game. I had no idea how to make video games. I was just making it up as I go. That's the reality. I was a complete fraud. And if you say, "Oh, imposter syndrome," you know, people who have, I don't feel like I deserve it. I didn't deserve this. Okay. And so when I took over the Mech Commander project, I did it through sheer instinct. Yeah.
Okay.
And force of will.
Actually, your personality too, because you have a really good personality.
Oh,
You do. I mean, come on.
honey, did you hear that?
He has a good personality.
All right.
She doesn't believe it.
I think this is necessary now.
Oh wow! You want to get back on the script, German?
No, I was just sending hearts. Because
Actually, truly though.
Oh, the heart. Oh, thank you.
Truly, like what we always talk about.
I didn't know. I didn't know where that heart came from. You. I was just like, oh, something flashed on my screen. I think it's the Matrix. Anyway, that's how I got involved in BattleTech.
Truly, like we always talk about how all you got to do is really put Mitch in any type of situation, and then you can market whatever it is. And we always talk about the First Circuit podcast, jumping over the PGI, saying just put him doing something. Doesn't matter. Have him clean the bathrooms. He'll just make it so much more fun. And so, basically,
I do clean bathrooms.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
But to actually have you in there, that's why I'm saying your personality is what really makes you a really good person.
Tell my kids that. I'm not sure they'd believe you.
Okay, I'm sorry.
All right, so what do you want to talk about? I'm sorry. Come on,
get back
Franz,
on
let's
script.
go.
I mean, you're already answering all of my questions, just kind of
you?
out of order,
Yeah.
but that's fine.
I like to think of it as organic.
Yeah, it's very organic. I like it.
All right.
Just think of it as a shopping list, Ian. You'll feel better afterwards.
Yeah.
Bravo.
I mean, okay, by the yes, I think my shopping list is sorted. So, right. One question we came up with is, why did you start Harebrained Schemes rather than join an existing game studio at the time?
Oh, better to reign in hell than serve in heaven.
All right. That's a solid one. Something people have asked, what role do you play in shaping the future of the Battletech universe like Jordan does? Are you involved with that in anything?
Jordan doesn't. Jordan has nothing to do with the Battletech universe. He's got nothing to do with CGL.
Oh, okay.
Nothing at all. He's not even a consultant or a partial owner or anything. The Battletech universe is run by Catalyst completely independently. Once upon a time, Jordan had this brilliant idea. God, I don't remember how long ago it was. Early 90s. To get all of the people together all of the freelancers together into a summit with all of the editors and plan out like a 5-year plan for the Battletech universe and the Shadowrun universe. And how we're going to shape things and stuff. And that was brilliant work, but I feel like I'm going to burp at any minute. I just want to warn you.
It's okay.
We'll edit it out in post.
Mm-hmm.
But after he left, when we sold FASA, I think to Fan or whatever, through Jordan Weissman, legal crap, whatever, and sales. He dropped it completely.
That's good to know. I thought he was still part of those summits.
Not that, no, not that I'm aware of. No, and I pretty much know his calendar.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. Actually, he was totally part of the whole universe, being the creator of BattleTech. That's what I thought as well.
No.
Yeah.
All right. So since you do know Jordan's whole calendar, are you his assistant or his babysitter?
Me? I'm his partner.
All right.
I'm his partner. I'm his brother. Our relationship is crystal clear. Once upon a time, I'll never forget this. We were working together at Microsoft. We had moved 1,800 miles across the country. This was less than 20 years ago. We moved here 20 years ago, which makes me old. I'm starting to realize.
Yeah.
Wow, this is the most depressing show ever.
Thanks.
We moved here 20 years ago. We were working together. Then we separated at Microsoft. He became the creative director of Xbox, the first wave of titles. But anyway, we separated for several years. And he invited me to Christmas one year at a Christmas party. And we were hanging out and we were talking about getting back together, and we're working together again. And I said, all right, look, here's the deal, Weissman. I will never work for you again as long as I live. Okay? I'm your partner or I'm nothing. He's like, all right, I get it. That's just that. I cannot let you control my life. I'm happy to take your chaos and add my own to it. That's cool. But no, it's not happening. Anyway, man, it's been 8 deliriously happy years as Harebrained Schemes together. We're sensational partners, because we're both married. I think we're both married 30 years to our spouses, and we know what a real partnership takes, like real partnership, and we apply that to ours, right? Okay. So it works like a charm.
I got a quick question. Just really quick, what will be a typical day at Harebrained Schemes for you?
There's no such thing. There is no such thing. No, there's no typical. No, that's the best part of this job, right? I never know exactly what's going to happen when I walk into the studio. I mean, I've got a to-do list, and I've got, I'm very organized, but you never know what's going to happen. We've got multiple things going on. We're up to 65 people in the studio. Okay. We're going gangbusters. We're integrating with Paradox and learning how to work with them as a parent company and stuff. Spinning plates left and right. Yeah. That's the word we all use, is just spinning plates. And there's just never a dull moment.
Okay, just curious about that. I was just curious what a standard day would be like inside Harebrained Schemes.
Yeah, but I can't tell you standard, but I'm happy to give you elements of it. I'm sorry, because I've given you zero insight. Okay. But I gave you reasons why you just got zero insight. So, for example, I talk a lot. I talk to humans a lot. I talk to people in Sweden via Slack until they go to sleep. Or until I allow them to go to sleep. I have what we call one-on-ones with different people in the studio, and that's and this is regular schedule. Everybody who reports directly to me, I have at least a half an hour conversation with once every other week, and there are at least 12 people in the studio who report directly to me right now. So that takes up a series of time slices. I attend meetings that I'm invited to rather than I call. I rarely call a meeting these days. Rather, the company has evolved such that the people are very self-directed. We talk at the goal level a lot, and it's awesome. They make me incredibly efficient because remember, I'm spinning all these plates like crazy, and we've got products to plan and a future to plan, and so they call me in. They say, "All right, Battletech, I'm still the game director too," and so they, it's like they call a meeting like, "We want to show you this, like the new whatever for heavy metal, the next expansion," and you just got nothing out of that. But we want to show you this. Here, try this. A new visual effect for something, or how it works. It's like they don't bring me into it. They bring me in to talk about it at the goal level, right? Then they bring me in to talk about what their plan is, and then they bring me in to show the first set of results of that plan. Yeah. And in each stage, I give them feedback and consult and stuff like that. That's sort of my life now. And then The same thing translates to the studio. So we have a director of operations, a COO of the studio. Her name is Tori. And so she runs the operations of the joint, right? Mm-hmm. And so she and Brian are our VP of finances, whatever. They'll bring me in like, all right, we're changing the company this way. And, we'll talk about, here's how we want to evolve the company. And they'll go, okay, here are the steps to get there, and we'll talk about rearranging those steps or adding to them. And then they'll come back again saying, all right, here's the plan, and I'll shit all over it. And it's so fun. They're great people because they're ready. Whenever they walk into a room, they expect to leave with a different plan than they came in with. But they also, their work is just brilliant. I mean, one of the best things about this job is the terrain in hell. The best part about it is that you get to choose who you go to hell with. Right? Yeah. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
And so I just learned a long time ago to surround myself with terrific people, and that really not much else matters. Have a really cool thing you're working on, and then get really cool people to work it with, and that's it. Everything else will sort itself out. Nothing else truly matters.
Yeah.
So at least that's the way I live. I don't know if I'm right. It doesn't matter. It's working out.
Actually, if it works, man, use it. Do it.
Well, that's what I'm doing. You know. And they don't mind the stink of cigar. Thank God we moved into a larger studio because I think it was really bad for people.
Well, yeah.
Those one-on-ones I have usually are outside smoking a cigar. And so I come to the studio. Mitch is back in the studio again. How do you know? Because, now that at least the place is, square footage much bigger and there's better air circulation. So,
how many cigars do you actually smoke a week with all that one-on-ones?
Who wants to know?
Is just someone concerned for your health, I guess.
Thank you. I appreciate that. A week? I don't know.
Perhaps just
I'm
one day.
I'm doing math. 5 to 12.
Yeah,
all right.
It's not bad. Yeah.
Depending on what's going on. 5 to 12. Wait a minute. 5 to 17.
The reason why
there's a formula in there.
The reason why I wanted to ask you about your job, because a lot of people don't know the internals of working at a company and what goes on. And
absolutely.
Yeah, that's why I was asking about that, because a lot of people don't understand. Like, there's deadlines; they can't get them done because something happens or something goes on. This is the reason why stuff goes on. So,
there's just plenty to do. Yeah, it's never a dull moment. Like I said, that's so cool, right? If I get bored, I start to chew my own arm off. Yeah.
It's also you're talking about having lots of great people around you. It's the benefit somewhat of having a smaller studio. It's a much more personal environment.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely.
Yes. I never want to grow the place so much that I don't know every single person's name.
Good.
And have interviewed every single person in the studio, right? If it ever gets that diffuse or whatever, then I think I've done something wrong. Yeah, right. What about that script?
Yeah, what about that script, man?
What about that script? I'm marking a bunch of questions off. What advice do you have for people aspiring to take your career path? I know the answer, but just entertain us.
You can't take my career path. It was a singular experience. I was literally standing in a goat pasture in Wales, standing in goat shit when I made my first deal to get into the game industry. All right. I'm standing there with the head of the studio from Sony, and he's stoned on a spliff that he hand grew. No shit. And he... Right? And you know what the scary part? He looks like me now, which is screwed up, except he was yellow all around his mouth from nicotine. So, anyway, we're in this goat pasture in Wales across from his house, which was literally like a hobbit house. It was, inside a hill, right, where there's only windows in the front and all that. It was that. I literally joined I went on this. I started this adventure in Hobbiton. Okay.
Hobbiton.
Yeah, that's what
Hobbiton, Lord of the Rings.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Okay, Hobbiton. Okay.
In the Shire. I started my adventure in the Shire, and so we're standing in sheep shit, and he goes, "So, how much?" And I said, "How much what?" He said, "How much to quit your day job and come do game development full time?" And I had a number in my mind, and I was with I had a partner at the time. Sorry, this is an important part of the story. I had a partner, my best friend Ray. We're still best friends after 29 years. So we're standing and he's silent. He's the silent partner with this part. And the guy says, "How much do you want?" And Ray and I had agreed on how much we wanted, and I fucking doubled it, right? So I told him the number. He goes, "What? That's more than I make." And I said, just like that, I said, "Yeah, but we're the talent, man." And he goes, "Yeah, done." And he holds out his hand. We shake, right? And he goes back into the house. I said, "Could I talk to my partner alone for a minute?" And he's like, "Yeah, sure." And he goes back into the hobbit hole. And I turned to Ray, and Ray is visibly vibrating. He's shaking. He's 6'6". He's an enormous mountain of a man, and he's vibrating. And he goes, "What did you do, man?" And I said, "I just made us a fuck ton of money and got us into the video game business." And then, like, I blinked 3 or 4 times, and I went, "Hey, Ray, what's a pixel?" And he told me. I'm like, "All right, cool. I've heard the word polygon. What's a polygon?" And he tells me what a polygon is. I'm like, "We are fucked."
True sign of talent, I guess.
Follow that path.
All right, so if anyone wants to go into game development today, what would you say to them? Besides sending ways and...
To get into game development today, don't think that you're in game development. Think that you're in entertainment. Okay?
Yeah.
First of all, very important. With the advent of digital gaming and with the rise of Steam and now with the competition that is the, what the hell is that other store?
Epic.
Yeah, thanks. The Epic store. And then with Netflix and everything, we are in direct competition with every single form of entertainment out there. And the competition is going through the roof and all bets are off. So you better not be thinking about just an individual pixel, if you want to win long term, But expect change real fast because everything moves at the speed of light, and by the time you figured out how to make one type of game, that game needs to evolve. The business needs to evolve. How you interact with the community needs to evolve. Hang on, I'm getting to what it is for a new game developer in a minute. But just be ready for constant change. Be ready for growth, right? If you come in with a fixed mindset into this industry that I just need to learn how it's done and then I'll do it, this is not the industry for you. If you have the growth mindset and you're willing to be constantly learning and constantly evolving, right, then this might be the place for you. And then think about this. Can you deal with ambiguity, right? Because you never know what's going to happen next, especially in American game development. So be ready for that. Are you ready to not be sure what you're going to do next game? And that, that's an important part of the mindset too. It's like, I could say here, go to school and learn computer science and all that stuff, but that anybody can tell you that, right? That's not the important stuff. The important stuff is realizing you better come in ready to communicate and ready to collaborate, ready to think on your feet. That's what you need to prepare yourself with. Everything else is just your discipline, how to write, how to code, how to design, right? Go to school and learn that. There are good schools out there now. There's Gama Sutra articles. You can study the stuff. You can go to YouTube. You can learn all this stuff that you need to learn. The question is, who do you need to be to succeed in this industry? Soapbox off.
Yeah, that was pretty good advice. Thank you.
Yeah, I had some coffee. I think I'm feeling pretty cocky right now.
So either be fast on your feet or go to Mitch's point of pilgrimage and drive a hard bargain.
Yeah.
That'll work like a charm.
Yeah, and if it doesn't
it's
work,
like I know you've never made a game before, but I'm the talent. Okay, anyway.
Right. How did you market yourself in the past? That's one of the questions. So what I'm assuming is you went up to people and said, "Hi,
I'm working for
My name is. No, the truth of this story, nobody's ever asked. So you literally get the exclusive for this sort of little nobody, intense little game developer. Literally, I did. You're right. What happened was in 1993-ish, I was writing paper and pencil role-playing games with my buddy Ray. And we were having a lot of fun. I had a full-time job, right? Just on the side, I was doing these things. So we're doing that, and it was Ray's idea. Ray said, and by the way, this is Ray Winninger. If you ever read Dragon Magazine when you were growing up, he's the guy who wrote Dungeon Craft.
Oh, really? Oh,
yeah, wow. Yeah. So anyway, he's like, you know what we should do? This is bullshit. You know, this paper and pencil stuff. We loved it, but he's like, we're never gonna become successful or something, or achieve our ambitions, or I don't know what it was. But video games, that's where it's at. They need people like us. I'm like, people like what? It's like people that could world build and blah blah. I'm like, yeah, man, I need a job. Let's do that. So anyway, so it was his idea, and what we did was we made. This is in the beginnings of the desktop publishing era. Mm-hmm. Right. And so we made a trifold brochure with a color printer.
A trifold?
Yes, a trifold brochure.
Okay.
Fancy.
And it's fancy. And basically it was an advertisement for our company. Our company was called Pompeii Studios. And by the way, Pompeii Studios didn't exist. And so we made business.
Google it.
No, you can. I don't know what'll happen if you. I've never Googled it. So we handmade our own business cards and trifold brochures. And mine said executive producer, having never made a game before, and his said creative director, having never made a video game before. And we sent those out to 70 game companies. We got their physical addresses from the Consumer Electronics Show guidebook.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so we had nice artwork on it and stuff, and like, let us transform your game from this into this. And these pictures of like a stick figure to a picture of, I don't know, like Uma Thurman in Pulp Fiction or something. And it had a list of all of the intellectual properties that we had worked on. Of course, those were in paper and pencil gaming, but they were legit. DC, Marvel, Doctor Who, Star Trek. All the White Wolf games, because we had a third partner at the time who was the president of White Wolf. And so that didn't last too long. But anyway, that was a short summer for that partnership. But so we went out and we sent out 70 of those brochures, and 10%, 7 companies got back to us and said, we'd like to meet with you at the next Consumer Electronics Show in Las Vegas. And we took a red eye to Las Vegas in a what do you call that? A blizzard. You couldn't fly to, because it was supposed to be in Vegas, but we couldn't get to Vegas from Chicago during a blizzard, so we had to fly to L.A., rent a car, and then drive through the night across the desert to get there in time for our first meeting with Sony at 9:00 in the morning.
Damn.
And we were just like white-knuckled through the desert. Like, we got to get there. And we got there just in time to shower We had not slept all night to shower and get dressed and find the show, get our badges, and get to this meeting. Yeah, that was a real good time. And then that first meeting actually was with the guy who said, well, that's more than I make. So we actually won on the first meeting, but we had we had 7 meetings, and they were gloriously stupid. Sorry, that's an entire novel right there.
Damn.
Just that one day of 7 meetings were just stupid. But anyway, what was the question?
I forgot what the question was.
Well, I guess the follow-up would be, do you still network and do you still market yourself or just the studio?
Yeah, I got to still market myself. Sure, I'm on Twitter. Why would you be on Twitter?
Let you market yourself.
Because it's cool and you get to meet people like me.
Like you.
No, that is absolutely false. That's not what's happening. That's a byproduct. It's a byproduct. No, the truth is, I'm completely about relationships with human beings, right? But it was Zach Eubank, the chief creative officer of Hyper RPG, the Twitch channel, who said to me, "You got to get on Twitter." I'm like, "Why?" It's because that's where the audience is, man. You got to go where the audience is. I'm like, it's a cesspool.
Yeah.
Well, just behave and don't engage in bullshit. I'm like, okay. So I originally got on Twitter to talk to people for Hyper RPG. Kickstarter was huge from a marketing point of view, because Kickstarter, to me, I always viewed it not just as a funding source, but as a microphone. This is how you get your voice out there, amplified in a way that you can't when you go through a publisher. The publisher controls everything that way. I was not, I wanted to reign in hell. To reign in hell, you talk directly to your audience without some mouthpiece controlling you. That's not the way it goes. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I have no idea what question that answered, but
some
mumble.
I got a question. I watched a documentary about White Wolf and how they actually worked in some guy's house, in a garage, and they were actually producing product through the garage and shipping off. Were you there at that time when they were doing that?
No,
you did talk about that.
No, I was never at White Wolf. Again, the president of White Wolf. Or CEO, I think he was, I don't know, whatever. He was my partner. Mm-hmm. Me and Ray were flirting with working on the world of what was kind of coming after the World of Darkness. They had this idea for another product line, another sort of game setting, and that's how we started working together. Okay. We used to get drunk together at Gen Con.
Okay.
We could call that networking.
Yeah, that is networking, actually. It is.
Anyway, so I went to the White Wolf offices several times, and I'm still friends with people from White Wolf. But I was never part of that company.
Oh, okay. I was just curious.
I never had the honor to be part of that company. I thought they did brilliant work.
Oh, they did. Good work.
Yeah. Next question.
Script time.
It is an interview, right?
Yeah. You can go ahead and tell stories all day long. I'm totally fine with that. What are your major inspirations and influences currently, mostly when creating new games?
Well, let me start this way. At a base level, I'm inspired by the people I work with. That's the major thing, right? And the more people that are different than me that I bring into the studio and that I work with, the better I get with my job, and the more the more dots I can connect, if that makes sense. Yeah. So anyway, so that inspires me for real. And watching them grow and watching their skills evolve, watching their collaboration evolve, watching them grow the studio, and evolve the way we do things, that's what gets me out of bed in the morning, A. B, like I said, it's just about great people and then something cool to do, right? So the B is the something cool. And that is different for every single project, and that is the joy of this job, right? I've been in the first-person shooter genre, the real-time strategy genre, or the real-time tactical genre, the tactical mobile game, whatever the fuck that is, genre. I made a tower defense game, a poker game, role-playing games. It's just, it goes on, and that's the coolest part, right? It's just, you're inspired by change. I'm inspired by change and evolution.
Okay.
Right. So I hope that makes, I mean, yeah, I like, you could say, oh, I love the Marvel movies. It's like, but who gives a fuck? That's, it's like, oh, I read Ursula K. Le Guin. I love Ursula K. Le Guin. But it's not about that. So everything is inspirational if you open your heart to it. Mm-hmm. And I'm not kidding about that. That's the idea. It's just walking around going, everything can affect my work in some way. That's what's cool, kind of about being alive.
Cool.
Wow, the coffee really kicked in.
Yeah, it did.
All right.
Good,
so
good inspiration
I've got a difficult follow-up question. What is your favorite work so far?
My favorite work?
And at HBS.
I have two answers to that, and they're both at HBS, which makes me very, very happy. The very first game that we made was this little mobile game in association with Bungie Aerospace. It was called Crimson Steam Pirates. I don't think it works anymore. I don't think you can get it anymore. But you could find videos of it, I think, on YouTube or something. But that was the first game that we made before we called ourselves Harebrained Schemes. It was basically Mitch and Jordan and some people in a storage closet. Literally, Chris Taylor of Gas Powered Games let us use his storage closet, and we jammed like 8-ish people in there. We got up to, at one point, it only was supposed to fit maybe 8 people. At one point, we had 16 in there. No running water. Only one way to get her in or out, and it was a skinny room. In order to go to the toilet, you had to like wedge sideways. Anyway,
sounds like a fire hazard.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And funny you should say that. On the weekends, at night and on the weekends, the building's air conditioning automatically turned off.
God.
And we formed a company in the summer, and at one point, we're working the weekend to get this Crimson Steam Pirates game out, and me and AJ and Mike McCain were working the weekend, and we just started taking off our clothes. Right? We just had no choice. We had this hardcore deadline. We had bet Bungie that we couldn't make this game in 10 weeks. We had bet. And so, like, no, we're fucking doing this. And so we called them Bikram bug fixing. Bikram is hot yoga, and we just were sweating and we're just stripping down to just a pair of shorts.
Oh, God.
Anyway, but that was the single most joyous game development experience of my entire life, because I had left Microsoft and I was this sort of exec at Microsoft, and I was spending a lot of my days with general managers and vice presidents and bullshit and meetings about bullshit, and all I wanted to do was make games. And I go to Weissman, like, or it was actually the president of Bungie, Pete Parsons, or the CEO of Bungie, Pete Parsons, who said, hey, Jordan's got this game he wants to make, and he could use a producer. Why don't you guys pair up and make this game? Because I was consulting for Bungie on Destiny at the time. Like, yeah, sure. I drove over to the closet, and Jordan had a 2-slide PowerPoint deck that explained what Crimson Steam Pirates was. And I said, wait, that's Mech Commander at Sea. Yeah, all right, sure. We know how to make this game. He's like, we have 10 weeks. I'm like, fine, sign me up. Let's roll. And because why the fuck not? So I got the joy of game development where literally I would go to AJ's desk. And I mean, this is one of the fondest memory I have in my entire life, right? Of going to AJ with my iPad, right? And going, hey, when I touch the ship, it does this. and I wanted to do that. And he goes, oh, give me a minute. And he AJs, right?
Yeah.
And he goes, all right, sit down. I'm going to bring you something. He brings me over an iPad a little while later. I try, yeah, like that, right? And then said, I just figured it out. This is how we do this entire game. The interface of the game. We're going to have Mitch and AJ Day. And he's like, what's Mitch and AJ Day? We had just met. Right? What's Mitch and AJ Day? And I said, you and I spend the entire day making this feel the way we want it to feel. He's like, yeah, sign me up.
Mm-hmm.
And I fell madly in love with AJ.
That's
that
cool.
was it. Yeah. Anyway, so that was the greatest experience I ever had making a game. My favorite work, actually, that was really good work. There was some great work in that game. Because every day Weissman would come in, he was just made of chaos. He was just, I was law and he was chaos. And we just, like, you know, he would come in after lunch. And I'd say, oh, hey, man, I just cut 2 features while you were out to lunch. And he'd say, oh, that's okay. I've got 2 new ones I want to add. And it was just that back and forth for 10 weeks. Technically, we had to take 12 weeks. We got it done in 10, but then to polish and bug fix, we needed another 2. Yeah. Not a failure. Bad game's a bad game forever. But anyway, so that was my favorite game experience, without a doubt. And then my favorite game that I've ever worked on is with Mike McCain. And that was the Shadowrun Dragonfall Director's Cut.
Yeah.
Shadowrun Dragonfall in the Director's Cut. And that's when I realized Mike was brilliant. Like, oh, shit. Oh, this guy's got it. Like, he's got it big time. That was really fun. And he just led the team so well on the Director's Cut. And he sort of retaught me how to make video games, right? Because I knew how to make video games as an indie and video game with Sony and video games at Microsoft with the Microsoft process and games as a publisher when I ran Xbox Live Arcade, and then started again as this startup indie, like bootstrap. I take no money. It's so fun to not get paid to make video games full time. And then he showed me a different way of making games, this sort of modern way of making. It wasn't rocket science, although he is fucking brilliant. But it was just, look, this is how modern people make games. I'm like, I embrace, let's go. And but anyway, Dragonfall Director's Cut, or Dragonfall. That was he and Andrew McIntosh and I becoming the writer's room and figuring out the narrative of that and this new experience. And that's the work I'm proudest of. That's the way to say it. So the most joyous game development was on Crimson Steam Pirates, and my proudest work is Dragonfall.
I'll have to check it out. Crimson Steam Pirates.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Well, I know.
You're not going to be able to play it.
I still want to see it, though. It'd be kind of cool.
It's a fun game. It's fun. It's made of joy. You can just smell the joy on it. And I wrote this fun little story. You'd play a mission, then you'd read this little story. Again, it had to be. I only allowed myself 80 words each mission to tell a story, and it was like this haiku. Right? It's like, how do I pack as much story into 80 words as I possibly can? And that was a blast. And Jordan was a major inspiration for that, because he's like, here's the story. And he gave me this weird-ass, like, Nikola Tesla and Samuel Clemens, that's Mark Twain. Yeah. They're in it. There's a guy this mysterious Lord M, who's controlling the crown of England, and it's just a fucking blast.
I'll just check it out.
At least see the trailer.
Oh yeah,
there's a great trailer that Bungie made, Bungie made. Yeah, the marketing guys at Bungie did a fantastic job with this trailer, with the music that I had chose, where I just fucking ripped off, although legally, Pirates of the Caribbean's music. It's like, this music is right out of Pirates of the Caribbean. Is that it? Is that the trailer?
Yep. That's the official one.
Can we play it? Do you mind?
Yeah, sure.
Is that possible?
Yeah.
Bob, open up on your screen, and people should be able to hear and see it.
Oh God, hold on.
Oh, awesome! Thank you. Got the music?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, I forgot there were Zeppelins. Oh.
That's cool, actually.
It was real cool.
That music, though.
Right?
I'm kind of amazed you didn't get sued over this one.
I got it from a place that had legal copycat music.
Oh, okay. More weapons. More mayhem.
That took that right from Battletech Heavy Metal Mayhem.
Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah.
Damn, that's cool.
Oh. Thank you so much for showing that. That was awesome.
And I'll leave a link down below to everybody.
Oh, thanks. That was cool. It's so much fun making that.
I bet. That looks fun, actually. I don't usually play those types of games because I don't, like, my phone's not really that big, but I'll or at the time.
Well,
I had a flip phone at the time.
It came out on iPad first.
Oh, okay.
So it was pretty big.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, it was fun.
Right.
Script.
Moving on slightly.
What's the German word for script?
Oh God.
Oh God.
German is your native language, right, man?
That's what I've heard.
Okay, do a list.
I mean, we say script mostly, so.
Really? I swear to you, when I said that, I was going to say, "What's the German word for script?" And don't tell me it's script.
Okay, what's a word for list?
I'm gonna Google it.
Oh God. Okay, I got a question actually. This is one of the things that's been my biggest pet peeve about BattleTech. Of course,
good.
It's a little bit of lore, so just to let you know.
All right.
Towards the end of the game, at that point, it seems that every pirate band has at least a whole regiment of assault mechs. In the lore, basically, and I'll ask you why though. Like in the lore, pretty much there's like maybe 60 assault mechs in the periphery, maybe if that.
Yeah.
Now, as a game standpoint, did you have to make it so it progresses that high so they actually have something to go fight? Like the players, when they do get assault mechs, they can't be attacked by, say, like 2-3 lances of light mechs because they'll just blow them out of water. So that was that the reason why? Yeah,
it's exactly it. It's system-based gameplay. In order to make something that could be played for 300 hours plus, like some people do, which blows my mind and just fills my heart. That's incredible. It's just so weird.
I think Rokne has like almost 1,000 hours or something like that.
Yeah, and it just makes me proud of our systems people, especially Kiva. In order to make it system and procedurally generate, you have to just make some decisions. And that's where form follows function or whatever. It's like, look, in order to accomplish this at the assault and to keep it open-ended like that, it just has to work like this. And the lore can only go so far. If you're a slave to the lore, you're going to be in trouble because the lore was written for a completely different medium.
Yeah, it was.
And you just can't. Not at my budget. Right? I mean, that's the truth. Could we be even more lore, what's the word? Sensitive, for lack of a better word. Lore faithful. Yeah, with a lot bigger budget, maybe. But that's just not the way the world works. That's not the way the entertainment industry works.
I was just curious just how you come up with that, basically. But you do a good job, though, with all the different little side things of what happens when people are on, when they're moving from planet to planet. You have, this Mechwarrior vid, and here's what they're called, and here's the drinks and all that kind of stuff. You do a really good job at that. I don't know who actually does that,
Well, which part of it?
Well, like whenever you have like your kind of choices, basically you want to go save.
Like events?
Yeah, like events. Yeah.
Events.
Yeah, we call those events.
Yeah.
Several people wrote those events, and my mind just suddenly went. I know with the expansions, Ryan Shapples wrote them.
Mm-hmm.
Before that, I just remembered. Whew, thanks. I had a senior moment. Actually, what's funny is I was talking about our VP of Finance, Brian. For the base game, Brian wrote those with one of our systems designers, Raymond, and they did a really good job on those. Sorry, things move around a little bit.
Yeah.
So a bunch of people did that, but the system, the system was created by the systems designer, Kiva and Raymond, and then different people wrote the events themselves, and then. When I took over the project after we shipped the vanilla version and I did the season pass, that's when we started to ramp those up and started to make more connective tissue out of them.
Yeah, you did a really good job. Basically, like I was, looking at the lore aspect of different wine companies you guys talk about, like all the different TV vids and everything else. You did a really good job, and I'm highly impressed with that.
Well, McCain was the guy who's like, let's do tooltips everywhere,
exactly.
Because he did not want to break the immersion of the gameplay by putting in a codex or some sort of encyclopedia that's like, oh, what's that word? And then you go read about it and come back. What is that? Oh, it's orange. I don't give a shit about that. Oh, it's that. Oh, what's that? And you mouse over and you go, oh,
yeah,
this is who Phelan Kell is or whatever. And so that was his idea. And then Andrew just writes badass tooltips. Andrew McIntosh. He just, and this is really, hard-earned lessons from Shadowrun, because he was the lead writer on the Shadowrun, the last two Shadowrun series. He just knows how to mine lore, right, to pull out the fun nuggets, He's a deeply talented guy.
Good job. Awesome job on it, yeah.
Naturally, with Battletech there were lots of developer updates. You also did lots of Q&As, so we got to see a lot of it when it was in production. So naturally, I think as Bob was talking about with the lore, there's things like we're given such a fancy ship, the Argo, and we're given like all these Star League mechs and everything else. And again, that's because it's going down to it's what's fun for the game gameplay rather than what's appropriate for lore. Because of course, most people aren't going around in the Argo in the periphery.
Right, they're not. But there's a way. This is super important. So please forgive me for a minute. And this, I'm speaking for the entire studio, and I'm especially speaking for Weissman. There is a way to interact with 35-year-old game settings, right? Or Marvel Comics, or just say comics and stuff. There's a way of interacting with this stuff that's respectful, that's true to the feeling of the universe, that's true to the desires, what fuels the universe, why it's cool in the first place. And instead of trying to put yourself, your thumbprints on the universe or adapt it with your vision, screw you. It's not about that. It's about this universe has existed for 35 years and has millions of fans all over the world for a reason. Figure out what that reason is. Do some adaptation or updates because of your business goals or your gameplay goals, but make it work. That's what the Argo represents to us. Like, look, we need a ship that does this, right? But we're not going to just bullshit our way into that, right? Kiva and Mike and others worked super hard to make the Argo respect the lore and fit with the universe. It was super important to us. So I'm glad you think so.
I mean, that whole scene of it taking off from the planet was just, heart-stopping. I mean, that's just beautiful. Gorgeous.
So, true story. Sorry, do you mind stories?
Oh, no, go ahead. That's fine.
That's what's happening.
Exactly.
The opening cinematic of Battletech, right, that tells the story of how this universe came to be for the first time ever, right? None of the Mechwarrior games had done it. It's just like, there are the clans, and they fight, and,
Yeah.
Yeah,
I tried.
Birthright.
Yeah.
But Mike wanted to set the tone and wanted to introduce Battletech to an audience to say, look how cool this shit is, right? Don't just think of this as giant robots. It's the people, what happened to them and why they have giant robots and why they fight with giant robots. That was super important to him. And then John Everest, our composer.
Good guy.
Everest. See? It's just...
Yeah, actually, we had him on, so yeah,
he
nice guy.
kills me. I love Everest. So he came up with this tune, right? And that's when Mike got the idea for the cinematic from the music. John's music inspired Mike's script and visuals, right? That's huge. What a collaboration between the two of them. And then with Joel's art in there, it just there's so much to it. Anyway, so they tell me this is what they're doing, but one of the first times I see it is in front of the entire studio with everybody else. Mm-hmm. And I just started crying like a baby in front of the whole studio, just watching this thing on the big screen in front of everybody. It was just, the music is doing it. It was just like, give me a napkin, the Lord Commander with a napkin at his eyes.
It was beautiful.
Yeah, it was just gorgeous. And the thing is, the beauty of it, is the whole experience of it. It's, with John and with Mike's vision of what he wanted to transmit about Battletech, and what we have to say with Battletech and stuff, and the collaboration of everybody doing it, and then the piece itself being beautiful. So it was beautifully created and then beautifully rendered. Yeah. And so, I just broke.
Yeah, it was, I could still watch that, and every time I do stream Battletech, I always have that going. Okay, to the script!
Huzzah!
Next question would be, what are you not satisfied with in regards to the Battletech video game?
Well, that's an interesting question. I don't think like that, so you gotta give me a minute. It's part of that growth mindset I was talking to you about before. I don't think about it as satisfied or not satisfied. I'm not a binary thinker. I just think, what do I want to work on with Battletech next? Mm-hmm. Right. It started with flashpoints, right?
Awesome idea, by the way.
That was Kiva. That's Kiva, right?
Thanks, Kiva.
I got to call them flashpoints. That's my little, putting my thumbprint on it. But no, the smart shit came from Kiva. And then from Andrew, figured out how to tell these stories. But I got excited about those. It was like, I don't like this linear storytelling this way. And Kiva came up with career mode as sort of a new sort of way of interacting with this. Mm-hmm. And so it's not a matter of what I'm not satisfied with. It's just more like, where do we go from here? What do we do next?
Right.
It's a matter of a mech being half full.
Well done.
There you go.
Thank you.
The water bottle spider. Okay. Maybe let me rephrase it slightly. If you had the chance to start Battletech all over again, do it again, would you do anything different? Or do you think...
I would do everything different. Well, Kevin Maloney, one of our senior designers, he says, the secret of game development, he says this at meetings all the time, he does this, the secret of game development is do it right the first time. That's it.
That's it.
It'll be bug-free if you just do it right the first time. I don't know. The truth of to answer your question, I'm sorry. The answer is, I don't know. I don't think about that. I don't give a shit, right? That was the past. I don't live in the past, right? You live in the past, you get depressed. You live in the future, you get anxious. I'm just right here.
Okay. Good answer, actually.
That's a good answer. Yeah. Okay. So here's the part where we were kind of hoping to have Jordan and Malcolm a bit, but Mitch...
I could put a sock on my hand and be Weissman.
Can you tell us anything about upcoming projects? Pretty please.
Jordan, could you tell us anything about upcoming projects? Well, Mitch...
All right, keep going.
Keep going.
I've got a new special project I've been conceiving of with one of our creative directors, but I can't say much about it.
Do you think Jordan would be the secretive?
No, that's why he's not on. I remember when we were doing Shadowrun Returns and we would do, podcasts or interviews, he would talk about features he wanted to make. I'm putting my sock back on now.
Okay.
Or Weissman, I should leave it off just in case Weissman wants to come back. But where the hell were we? He was just... the Jordan Weissman sock puppet may be the highlight of my career. We would do interviews all the time, and he'd be talking about features that he'd want to do. I'm like, whoa, we're not doing that feature. So, yeah, you got to watch that. He's a bitch live.
There's one thing I would want to mention, at least, is sort of, you don't want to do like what were No Man's Sky kind of thing with Hello Games, because, they're just so passionate about the game. You just kept talking and talking and talking, whereas...
I used to work with Peter Molyneux.
Yeah, with you in your Q&As, you're often very much the person who tells the audience in particular, no.
No.
Yeah.
No, I'm not going to talk about no.
Or it's not within scope.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, hey, look.
Focus equals quality.
By the way, I'm getting another tattoo. And it's got to say that. I just gotta. Nope. Right. I wrote to McCain over the weekend. I'm like, hey, what typeface did we use for that? I want to use the same typeface. I got lost again.
I think it's all that coffee.
I think it's the jet lag and the coffee. I'm just lost.
Memory is not within scope.
Well, that's what we were talking about. No, we were talking about no. Wow. Yeah, we were talking about no. Oh, what I want to say about no is that's how you build trust with an audience.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
No, we're not going to do that. If you want the company to be here for a sequel or something, no.
Yeah.
Right? I know how to fail. I've done it. Please allow me not to and keep people employed. Right?
Yeah, true.
Because that's a big part of my job. It's the game industry. Right? And part of my job is keeping people employed.
And it's Harebrained Schemes. I have to say, you guys are very good with your Kickstarter. Particularly, obviously, I use Battletech as one of the key examples. Even though you raise $3 million, you don't keep adding stretch goals, which is a huge mistake. I think a lot of game.
That's what Shadowrun Returns was.
Yes.
Let me tell you something. When we did Shadowrun Returns, the Kickstarter was in its infancy. Mm-hmm. And video games, we were one of the very first video games to get funded on Kickstarters. There was Tim with Brutal Chalice or whatever the hell it was. Sorry, I forgot. I apologize. I didn't mean to be disrespectful. There was In Exile with Wasteland 2. There was Leisure Suit Larry.
Oh, wow.
And there was us. That's all I remember. And if there were more and I missed them, it's not out of a lack of respect. It's because I had my head up my own ass trying to get this Kickstarter going, right? So we were like laying down grass in front of our feet to try and make a path. This is a path. We were just making it up as we went. And the night before the Kickstarter launched, I was talking to my friend Scott Glancy, who's a paper and pencil game developer. And he's like, I think you're going to kill it. I think your Kickstarter is going to be great. You ready with your stretch goals? And I said, what are stretch goals? What's a pixel?
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
And he's like, hey, this is something you might want to pay attention to. And I went back to the office. I'm like, guys, we are fucked. And the game was funded in 23 hours.
Wow.
Right? And then it was like, so what are your stretch goals? We're like, I was actually teaching a class in game development when we hit it, and people started talking about stretch goals. And I said to the class dismissed. I got to go figure out what stretch goals are. Right? Like, I had no idea we'd get funded. I thought I at least had time. Mm-hmm. Right? Like 23 hours. And so we just made them up as we went. And we just screwed ourselves into tomorrow. That was unbelievably stupid.
Well,
anyway.
Kind of like what Caddis Games Labs had. They were like funded in less. I mean, literally less than a couple hours. And then every single time they kept on adding.
What was their funding goal?
What was it, 1 million or
It
something?
it was fairly conservative, just a couple
It was
thousand.
not $1 million.
No?
Yeah,
So-
it
okay.
was fairly conservative.
Not a
just to get it
chance.
going.
Okay.
It was about $5, I'm guessing.
$5? Okay.
Because
No,
because that's
30,
no
30K.
that,
yeah.
how much? 30K.
If you
30K?
Exactly.
Oh my God.
The trick to it, come on, guys, this is psychology. The trick to it is you set your funding level low, you succeed, and then you're like, triple our funding goal, 8 times our funding goal.
Yeah.
This is amazing. You got to get on the bandwagon. This shit's going nuts.
Which it did. It did.
Yes, it did.
It did
It went
go
crazy.
nuts.
It did. That's the way. I'm
It's
putting
really
the sock puppet away now because my foot's cold.
I mean, like every day was something new. It's like, oh wow, it added something new. Cool.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
Hopefully they planned it. I did not.
Mm-hmm.
And that I'll tell you. So that was in April of 2012. We shipped in April of 2013. January 1st, 2013, I woke up in a cold sweat. I said, holy fuck, we have to actually deliver this thing now. How the hell do I do that?
Yeah. But you did.
We did.
Everything worked out good.
Yeah. Sure.
Right.
It's just, you got to understand, I'm like 30 years old. This is HBS aging me.
Yeah. One other thing I remember, at least talking about Kickstarters and whatnot, would be in Battletech, of course, there were the updates. So talking about the lore, the setting, and a big one, I think, at least for me, was a keynote was game design, i.e., we're wanting to recreate tabletop, but doing exactly tabletop rules into a video game doesn't really make much sense. So here's our ideas. We just want to get this out to the community. And I felt a lot that, particularly when you and Jordan, and particularly you, I think, of course, with Death from Above, spent a lot of time fiddling around with that big giant table, to really practice.
That was all Jordan's idea. That was Jordan's idea. It was Jordan's idea, and then the Game Master's idea to actually use our turn order from the game to prototype it there. That was really fun. Yeah. I really liked sharing that stuff with people beforehand. I'm sorry, I think there was another question.
I just wanted to add that the turn order thing is actually something I'm using in tabletop myself now.
Oh, are you really?
It's really good. I think it improves. Personally, I think my games are improved by it. It's less one-sided, less boring, more interactive.
I think it really does help emphasize the different weight classes.
Yeah. So,
that was Kiva's baby. That was one of the first things she really brought to the table. Very cool. Yeah. And that's, again, how to be respectful to the game, right? Mm-hmm. To the feeling of the game, yet still doing what we needed to do. I'm really glad you guys liked that. That's cool.
Yeah, and speaking of promises that have to be delivered on, Clanner Dating Sim, when?
All right, so there's a rule, especially for people like me. When you are leading a team, leading a studio, whatever, you need to understand the difference between suggestion, guidance, and direction. Make sense? Mm-hmm. When I say I suggest this, all I mean is, hey, think about this idea. This might be good, but I don't expect you to do it if you think you shouldn't. And then guidance is, here's the goal, go nuts. You know what I mean? And direction is, no, fucking do this, right? This is what I want. You got to know the difference. Now, the same thing applies to whatever the hell we were just talking about. Sorry, a fly flew in my face and I got
Clanner Dating Sim.
The Clanner Dating Sim. There's a difference between me saying on the internet, hey, here's a stupid ass idea, to me saying, I promise. In success, all things are possible, except a Clanner Dating Sim.
Yeah,
but we need a title for that anyway. You can't just call it the Clanner Dating Sim. It's got to be something
you
like
totally could.
The filthy, cheating Clanner Dating Sim.
Nah, someone would buy it as a Clanner Dating
Filthy
Sim.
Clanners.
I mean, some people are buying the KFC dating simulator, right?
The what?
Yeah, the KFC, Kentucky Fried Chicken, right?
Yeah, Kentucky Fried Chicken. Apparently, there's a game on Steam now where
it's
kind of a
Simulator's
visual
on Steam
novel,
too.
and you have to get a date with Colonel Sanders.
I'll pass it on.
It's
that
stupid.
is hot.
Yeah, so I'm assuming people would buy a Clanner Dating Sim.
One question.
Something like plowing the fields of Tukiyid.
Wow. And scene.
One question I have about Mech Commander actually was you did a great job at the live action segments of it. Really good job. What was the motivation for you doing that? And well, obviously the motivation to make it more like immersive. But who actually wrote and directed that?
Okay,
part?
So no problem. First of all, I'm kind of proud to tell you that I had nothing to do with it.
You're proud. It's great though.
In a way, I wrote and filmed all of the Mech Commander 2 stuff.
Mm-hmm.
The Mech Commander 1, I had nothing at all to do with. I had my hands full with everything else.
Oh, okay.
Right?
Okay.
So that was written by Tom Dowd,
mm-hmm.
who you may have heard of, right?
Mm-hmm.
Who was one of the co-creators of Shadowrun and the line editor for Shadowrun. But he also knew his Battletech. He co-wrote that with the director who was our director of marketing, actually, whose name was Joel Machek, mm-hmm. and who just, that guy, he was brilliant. And they did that. And the idea for it was, of course, Jordan's vision, right?
Yeah.
He was trying to open up the Battletech universe to people, to turn it into, a thing, right? He wants Battletech movies. He wanted Battletech books and comic books. He wanted all of that. We still want a Battletech TV show. Battletech shouldn't be a movie, right?
Mm-hmm.
Battletech is a Game of Thrones TV show.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
I won't use the word never because I'm not a moron.
Mm-hmm.
But if it does, I will eat my hat.
Yeah.
On live stream. Although I would love to do that. Anyway, whatever that fucking question was. Yeah, next.
And it was really good. I just have to say it was well done.
I still love that.
Yeah.
I love that
Mm-hmm.
cinema. I know people, and I'm one of them, that just have it memorized. They know all the lines. I still use them, like during our daily stand-up. Somebody will say something, and it's like, well, I think it's this. I don't think Mechwarrior. Find out.
One of the part of the question that Bob originally had was, why do you think no one else has done live action since then?
It's out of favor. It's fashion.
All right.
Okay. I think that's a large part of it. But see, now when you do motion capture, once you start doing like God of War type stuff and Odyssey, Assassin's Creed Odyssey, and you get
mm-hmm.
these brilliant actors like Elias Tefexis, who was the bad guy in Battletech,
mm-hmm.
and who was Adam Jensen, right? These people are real actors,
mm-hmm.
But it's more immersive, actually, if you make them look like the rest of the game. So live actors, put you out of it. So could that come back? Yeah, I'd love to do it, actually. I loved making those cinemas. I just loved them.
Okay.
I love working with actors. I went to theater school, right? I never wanted to be a game developer, ever.
Mm-hmm.
Whoops. But, I wanted to be a theater director.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Well, that's what this is. So, that's why those Mech Commander 2 cinemas were so much fun.
Yeah, the best one I like.
So big hypothetical question. Mm-hmm. If you got the funds, would you consider doing a motion capture thing for Battletech?
Yeah, I guess. Again, it goes back to form follows function. You have to say, what are we trying to do with this? Right? What are our goals for the project? What are we trying to transmit? How are we trying to, immerse people? Is this the right tool for that? It's not like, boy, I really want to do motion capture. All right, let's figure out how we're going to do that. Screw that. That's how amateurs do it.
No, I actually didn't have the follow up. It was more of a I just loved it. That's all.
Yeah,
loved it.
The script completely goes in a different direction now. Mitch, would you be willing to tell us a bit about how you came about working with Paradox and how the relationship has evolved?
Oh, sure, absolutely. So what happened was we did a Kickstarter for Battletech, and that went really well. Our ambitions, were obviously very big, and we wanted more money to make the game, right? Quality is everything to us, and quality is based on how controlled your ambition is and just how much money you have. That's that, right? And so we just wanted more money. So he's like, let's get a publisher. Mm-hmm. And I'll never forget this. I met Paradox's chief business officer, a guy named Shams Georgiani, who's just a lovely guy. And he came out to the studio to get a presentation. Jordan was out. It was just he and I that day, Shams and I. And I showed him sort of this slide deck, like a PowerPoint, but the Google presentation or whatever. So here's what Harebrained Schemes is. Here's what Battletech is. Here's where we want to take the company in the future. Now, here's the thing. I know you're a publisher, but I don't think short term like this, right? I've had a publisher. I've been a publisher. Publishers suck, okay? Publishers just suck. They ruin your life. And so I want to get married. If we're going to work together, you don't think about this as dating. You think about this as courting to get married. Yeah. Right? Because I only do long-term relationships. I'm a deeply monogamous person, right? And because this is really important, we just had this conversation in Sweden when I was there, because I've got this really strong philosophy that when you treat your relationships, the important partnerships, like a marriage, and you start thinking truly long-term, like death do us part long-term, then every flare-up that you might have, every disagreement you might have, is actually, it's not this big. On a timeline, it just reduces to, look, this is just a bump in the road, right? Don't go to bed angry. You know what I mean? Let's talk it out. Let's kiss and make up. You know what I mean? We share the same values. We share the same goals. Let's just talk through it until we fix it. And I refuse to do anything else. Okay. I simply refuse. That's the reign in hell bit, right? When you're reigning in hell, you could screw yourself doing this, but I'm going my way. Cool. Anyway, so that's how the relationship with Paradox started. Oh, thank you. That's how the relationship with Paradox started. And then, then it's like, all right, now we're dating. Oh yeah, that worked out. They were our publishers for Battletech, and that's sort of the rent to own sort of mentality. And it's like, is this going to work out? How's the relationship? Oh, you people have integrity. Oh, you're smart. When you say you're going to let us do things our way, you do. Stuff like that. Yeah. But then there's, then when you do the marriage thing, now we're moving into the same apartment, and now we're dealing with the cockroaches. That's Robinson, my first apartment. I remember very vividly. When you start dealing with the adversity of the new relationship, that's when the rubber meets the road, and that's when your relationship gets defined, and that's where you find out who people really are. Right? Okay. Yeah. And you go into an argument, it's like, and somebody goes, no, blah, 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 blah. You're just like, oh, is that how you feel? Well, if I knew that, I would have behaved this way. Now that I know you feel that way, what if we did this? Yeah. Sorry, this is I soapbox, but you get the idea. And so that's where we are with Paradox now. We're in that, there's no honeymoon phase. That shit's over. Now it's the shared goals. Oh, you want to have kids? All right. And this is really what it is. You want to have kids together. The babies are the games, right? So you want to have kids together, and you want to make a future together. Let's talk about child rearing and who changes diapers, right? And who gets up in the middle of the night, right? Yeah. I'm serious. Yeah. That's what it is. Yeah. And that's what we're working through now, and it's going great. That's good. But there's times where it's just like, I wanted to flip a table. but so what? We're married now.
And you work towards that goal.
Yeah, that's that. Yeah. So, I just got back from Sweden, and it was the best time investment I've done in years.
That's good to hear.
Yeah. No, you hit me on an upswing. Yeah.
All right. I mean, out of all the things from today's podcast, I never assumed I would have gotten marriage advice. But
I'm here for you, man.
There we go.
Yeah. I think about marriage a lot.
Do you guys have anything else, or do we want to go back to script?
This is exactly the experience you were hoping for. Am I correct?
Oh yeah.
Yes, actually, yes. Quite so.
Really?
Okay. Yeah, kind of.
Actually, that's what we expected.
Which mech is your favorite question?
It's gonna come in just a bit. First, I've got something slightly different. So,
No, hit me.
Your thoughts on some of the disputed topics. Do you think the clans were a worthwhile addition to the universe?
Were the clans a worthwhile addition to the universe? I don't care. I don't think about that. It doesn't matter. That's looking backwards again, and that's judging the past.
Yeah, true.
Were they a worthwhile addition? You know what? A lot of people love the clans, and Piranha's made a lot of money off of those clan mechs. So were they? Yeah. Right? People like the clans. So was it worth it? Yeah. Could you do it better? Yeah. Yeah. You really can execute better on that shit. You definitely can. Okay, let's move on.
All right.
Now what are we going to do?
Uh-oh.
All right.
Just do it right the first time. Just do it perfectly the first time.
So, how much do you love quad mechs and their dedicated fan base?
And we're out. All right. Cool.
Thank you, Mitch.
Bye.
So now we know how this podcast ends. Or
No, that's when we get onto the topic of hexapods.
Oh, God.
Sure,
no.
bring it.
Let's stop right there. All right.
Oh, you got Ian out now. No.
Yeah.
As we know,
It's even more niche.
Four legs are the perfect number of legs, so let's just...
Okay.
No.
What's your favorite mech?
I don't have a favorite mech.
No?
People ask me that all the time, and I make up a different answer every single time. Depending on who I'm talking to, here's marketing. If I'm talking to people who love the Battletech pods, one of the things I love the catapult specifically because I'm actually lousy at first-person Battletech. So let me just lay back, on the other side of this hill, spot for me, and let me lock on. Right, and I can be, I'm like the healer of the group. This is how I can do it. If it's Mech Commander, then I love the Raven for Raven reasons, or the Mad Cat actually.
Mad Cat, Jaguar Mad Cat.
Mostly because it's overpowered Mech Commander, right?
Oh, of course.
But that's the fantasy. That's Denny Thorley, who was the executive producer of Mech Commander and the president of FASA Interactive. He was all about the power fantasy, because it was, for him, it was all about masculinity. For me, it was always about the people inside these cockpits and why they're doing this. They're doing this for their families and their homeland and stuff like that. It wasn't about power exactly. It was, but it was on a different scale for me. It wasn't about dick size for me.
It was individual stories of the Mechwarriors themselves.
Always.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And not just the Mechwarriors. Sorry. Also, Hans, Davian, or whoever. It's their stories. It really is Game of Thrones, right? It's it's about the Hound, right? And it's about Sansa.
Yeah, true.
True. And that's why I love Game of Thrones.
I would love to actually see that in a TV series, Battletech, the TV series.
Oh, me too.
Great.
And that is why I eventually, I should say this, because the first date with Battletech was like, Battletech's fucking stupid. But I do want to point out, I did fall in love with Battletech, and that's why. It's exactly that. I don't want you to think I'm some crass, money grubbing, he does mechs for money. It's not that.
Okay. We never thought that, but yeah.
I'd rather be clear. We're on the internet.
Oh yeah. True.
Yeah, sure. People can misinterpret stuff you said.
Like, no, that never
dating
happens.
sim.
Never happens.
Fake games.
All right. Since you were speaking of the pilots and their stories, what's your favorite character from the Battletech universe? Do you have one?
I don't have one. No, I don't give a shit. No, I don't care. I don't have a favorite. The one that I'm using right now.
There you go.
If that makes sense. The one whose story I'm trying to tell right now. And that's not disrespect. I'm just telling you how I think.
All right. Yeah.
I don't have a favorite anything. Right. It's like, we're telling a story about a Hatchetman. Okay. We're telling a story about a Raven. Okay. We're telling a story about the Black Widow. Okay.
Yeah. That makes sense.
So are there any factions you're particularly fond of, or is it the same mindset for factions as well?
I give less of a fuck about the factions. I heard about that one. No, and again, it's not a disrespect or a lack of love for the factions. It's like, which of your children is your favorite? I mean, not that I made them, but it's just like, that's not relevant.
Yeah.
Who, is FedCom interesting? Maybe. Is the word of Blake interesting? Maybe. I don't have a favorite. I'm not a fan. I'm a professional trying to do a job.
True. Okay. Makes sense. Yeah, that's a good answer. That's actually true.
Cool.
It's true.
Well, it's just I'm sorry.
certainly-
I'm only on here to tell the truth.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's all.
It's certainly different than I expected, so that's cool.
Oh, fun.
What past Mechwarrior and Battletech games have you actually played yourself?
I played MechWarrior 2 and I played the Battletech pods. I put my hands on Pirate's Moon, not MechWarrior 3, but Pirate's Moon. I've regrettably never played MechWarrior Online because when I got involved with that, with MechWarrior Online, it's like, I had harebrained schemes, and then it's like, yeah, I got no time for anything. So,
No.
so yeah, those are the ones I played. I can't think of, and of course the ones I made, you kind of have to play those.
Just
I think that's it.
So you've actually finished Battletech by now, right?
Battletech?
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And now when I play on live stream, that's my personal save game.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh, that's the whole deal. It's called Mitch Plays to Win because literally it's my save game.
Yeah.
I'm over we're over 1,000 days into my. Here it comes.
Wow.
Into it, right?
That's insane.
And I'm just trying to survive. And this is, I swear to you, on my children's heads, this is the only game in my entire career that I've ever played after shipping it, right?
Yeah.
I love that Shadowrun first-person shooter. I love that game. And I played it for a couple of weeks after, right, with the team, because we had broken up. So this is how we sort of kept in contact.
Yeah.
And then later, I played it once as a nostalgia thing, right? But Battletech's the only game that I've ever enjoyed playing and wanted to keep playing just because it's fun. That's bizarre to me. Like, this has never happened to me before.
Actually, speaking about that Shadowrun game you're talking about, it had a really good intro, and the song for it, just awesome song. Beautiful song.
Shadowrun Returns?
Yeah, Shadowrun Returns. Beautiful song. It was done by a South American group. I forgot who exactly they were. But
Barbatuques.
yeah, good.
Yeah,
good
the name
song.
of the song is Baiana.
Yeah.
Bain.
Yeah, I'll leave a link down below, too. Yeah.
Then the rest of the letters.
Yeah.
Oh, you have a link to it?
Well, I'll get a link to it. In fact,
Please do. I love that. I've got it on my phone. I listen to it all the time.
Yeah.
My children adore that music. That I just want to point out that the person who chose that was our audio director, Tobin Buttram, who is now at Valve.
Okay.
But I love that guy, and he was right on with that. God, I love that song. And by the way, there's no musical instruments in that.
Yeah, I know.
Right?
Yeah.
You got to watch the video of them performing it when you see them
did.
just out there dancing. Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
basically,
good. So you know how cool they are.
I'll leave a link down below for everybody, too.
Oh, that's awesome. Especially I mean, that's the only.
Exactly.
And he
Very
just
good.
makes noises with his nose. It's so messed up. I love that.
Great song. Good choreographing, too.
I've actually got a short follow-up question to what you said earlier about playing Battletech for over 1,000 days. How do you stay interested in your campaign? Because my campaigns are usually over the 400 to 500 days mark.
Because running Mason's Marauders is just like running an independent game studio. Right? Improvise, adapt, overcome.
All right.
And it hits me in the entrepreneur.
And do you set it to extra hard, or do you set it to easy mode?
It's a balance of what bores me and what doesn't.
Okay.
So, for example, it's only 3 mech parts to complete a mech, but it comes empty.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
That's good.
Full mech destruction. If you get cored out, it's gone forever. Right. It's that kind of stuff. It's just like, it's sort of like, it's just the experience I'm looking for, not the difficulty level I'm looking for. Actually, that's the way I think, a lot of people are talking about difficulty level online right now.
Yeah.
And I've got a very specific opinion on that you'll see in my next game.
Okay. Actually, speaking of next game, Okay, so next up.
All right. Byter has a super serious question for you, Mitch. Are you a cat or a dog person?
Oh, I'm a dog person. Holy crap, I'm a dog. I had cats. I love cats. I had two cats, Elizabeth and Victoria Pericles.
So sorry for interrupting you, Mitch, but look at Bob leaving. He's bringing the foster kitten.
What are you doing?
That's a foster kitty.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I love cats. I think cats are great. I am a dog man. What's your cat's name? Hello, sweetheart. What's your cat's name?
This is actually a foster kitten that we foster cats for the Humane Society.
But do they allow her to have a name?
Yeah, actually, look, we actually make sci-fi names for him, and her name is Aurora.
Cool.
So,
she's adorable. Oh my
definitely.
God, she's cute. Yeah, she's cute. She can't live in my house.
Yeah.
I rewarded myself. Funny you should say that. Like 2 weeks ago, rewarded myself for we're over a year with Paradox. It's like, okay, this isn't going to blow up. That's a true story. It's like I rewarded myself with building an outdoor dog kennel.
Okay.
Right. And it's empty. There's no dog in it. I have an outdoor dog kennel for a dog I don't have.
You got to get a dog now.
Well, form follows function again.
Yeah.
I want a companion. So, yeah, that's what's going on now. So I'm a dog guy. And the kennel's really large because I intend to get a BFD.
Best friend dog?
No, big fucking dog.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. No, German Shepherd, probably.
Good dogs.
That's all done. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. No, minimum of, if I can. Look, you're going to adopt, maybe foster. So you get the dog that you bond with, right? But I like, my last German Shepherd was over 100 pounds.
Jeez.
So, he looked like a police dog, and but he was a lover.
That's cool.
So yeah,
Cool.
I look forward to repeating an experience like that. I hope I get it.
So next up, I've got a little something that I cooked up in the train, and I hope it's gonna be fun. So
Is it meth?
No,
cooked this up on the
it's a
train.
quiz.
All right.
It's a quiz about lore. So
Oh,
whoa,
wait. This quiz is made to fuck you.
yeah,
I have people for that, man.
I got people for
and entertain me, Mitch, and see how well you do.
All right.
All right.
God.
I've basically got 5 questions. I'm gonna ask you one, and then Bob one, you another one, and Bob another one, and we're just gonna see who performs better. So, Mitch, in the Fatcom Civil War, Victor Stanley Deviant fought against his brother Arthur, his sister Catherine, his brother Peter, or his sister Yvonne.
I don't know the answer to that.
Okay.
I know where to go to get the answer to that. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's Catherine.
Yeah, obviously. So, Bob, your question is slightly different.
Oh, obviously.
The Treaty of Taurus between the Magistracy of Canopus and the Taurian Concord was formed in 3025, 3048, 3056, or 3067.
3056, because it actually developed into Detroit. And,
Hang it.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah, see.
This is all just for those two.
Yeah, you actually you stole my answer.
Oh, sorry, man. Sorry.
Damn. I was hoping I would make it difficult for Bob, but
No,
he actually
there's,
knows the stuff. It's frustrating.
there's a lot of stuff I don't know, though, man. Basically,
Right.
just because I sit on my toilet for hours at a time reading books doesn't mean I know everything.
Have you ever heard of porn, by the way? You should look it up. Let me ask you a question. When you realize how little I know, does that offend you?
No,
No.
it doesn't. You're kidding?
Oh, okay.
No. As
All right,
long as
cool.
you know where to look, that's perfectly acceptable.
Yeah, baby.
All right. Mitch, this question you should be able to answer. The ruling house of the Magistracy of Canopus is House Centrella, Liao, Merrick, or Devian?
That one I can actually do. That's House Centrella.
Yes.
That one I can do. Because on Death Row Above, I was flirting with Lady Centrella.
Oh. I remember that one.
Yeah.
That was fun.
Yeah. I in my headcanon, we had a thing. I think we alluded to it a couple of times that there may have been something that went on between the Lord Commander and Lady Centrella. And man, I loved that.
I still have to watch those. I haven't watched those yet, though.
Oh, no. Do not watch those. Those
No?
do not hold up. No. Those do not
I mean,
watch
once you get to the
reruns.
second season, I think they do hold up.
Oh, well, that's where I started writing
The second
it
season
myself.
is really, really good.
Okay.
That's just the truth of that. I took full creative control season 2.
Okay.
That's just
Right.
is that like does Did I say that wrong?
No,
that's what happened.
Yeah, I love the addition of a certain big dropship. That's all I'm gonna say.
Oh yeah, you know how that happened? We were on. That happened live. We just made that shit up, right?
Oh, really?
Yeah. What happened with that was I was improvising with the game master, and he said I was talking to a spy, Waylon, who was a really cool character, and I said something like, "Waylon, let's talk about Operation Boomerang," right? And he's like, "Yeah, Boomerang. Let's talk about that," right? And I didn't know what Boomerang was. He didn't know what Boomerang was. It's just like, and cut. It's just like, and afterwards he's like, "What's Operation?" I don't know. I'll let you know next week. It'll be fine. And then I turned it into that thing.
Oh my god.
Okay, that's really cool.
Yeah, actually what happened was it became Operation Boomerang, then it's like Boomerang Base, and then you find out what's in Boomerang Base. And it was I pulled it out of my ass every week.
So, question for Bob. The Canopian Central Committee, a willing organ that can veto any legislation created by the Magistrates, was originally instituted by Melissa Humphreys, Floral Centrella, Corinna Centrella, or Ian Merrick.
Corinna. Oh,
Bob,
I know. Actually, might have been like Melissa, because Melissa was done in like 2560 or something like that.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, that's what I was going to say.
It's ridiculous how much he knows, but all right, you're 1-on-1. So
I just realized the first question you asked me was sort of one of those idiot questions, like anybody knows this. I got what's going. I finally picked up on it. Like, fuck it. All right, keep going.
I mean, I'm happy you realized it at some point. That's cool.
Yeah, whatever.
I would
so it's like battle mechs are made of
steel,
metal,
I guess.
Just go with atoms.
Fibrous.
Atoms. Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Right. I've got one final question, and I want both of you to answer them as soon as you know the answer.
Very good.
No.
Okay. I'm gonna give you a list of 4 mechs, and I want you to tell me which one of those 4 is the objectively best mech.
Objectively?
Objectively, yes.
Objectively best.
And I'm the judge for this, obviously.
All right.
Okay.
Is it
a catapult?
Yeah, catapult.
Not quite, although that's good contestant. The underwhelming slowpoke, the glorious 4-legged scorpion, the way too specific urban mech, or the awesome.
Repeat them, please.
Slowpoke, the underwhelming slowpoke, the glorious 4-legged scorpion, the way too specific urban mech, or the awesome.
Herbie.
Well, the slowpoke is not a real mech according to canon, so I guess not the slowpoke. The urban mech is probably the best mech per se because it was actually designed by Lau to actually be in civil defense forces. So that's probably going to be your best mech.
Right. I mean, you're
totally
right,
my answer too.
Yeah, Mitch answered first, so it's decided.
Okay.
Mitch, you're better at lore than Bob is.
Oh,
I'm faster. That's what's important.
Yeah.
You don't have to be right. You have to be first.
Okay.
Bob, I'm thoroughly disappointed by your performance, but
I gotta stop playing
I have to
Battletech now.
agree. Yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't come on here to judge you, but Ian's right.
I gotta stop playing Battletech. See you guys later, man.
Yeah. All right.
Sorry.
If you guys
This reminds me of the live stream, the drunk stream we did that one time.
if you're watching, Mitch just dropped his phone. Or if you're listening, sorry.
Stay there.
Okay,
So we're now kind of in the open-ended discussion and what-if scenarios. So I'm gonna refer to Byter and Bob if you've got anything you want to talk about, or Mitch if you've got any topic you would like to.
No, I prefer to react.
React.
All right.
Okay.
We've prepared a couple things. Do you guys want me to just give a word and go on?
Yeah, sure. I don't mind. I really don't have any questions per se. I think you answered a lot of them about BattleTech, the lore-wise, and like about the assault mechs. You know, that's my main the main thing I wanted to go talk about. And good. Actually, they were good answers. They were really good answers.
Thanks.
I definitely did enjoy it. I'm cool.
Yeah,
Cool.
Byter, you've got any more questions about the more interview
Mole
stuff?
people?
probably-
Mole people?
No.
No?
Glory to Starlink.
No mole people?
All right. So I guess we've got 2 more kind of topics before we end this episode. Mitch, if you could cross over Battletech with any other setting, franchise, or universe, what will it be?
Shadowrun. I would add magic.
So, okay.
Yes.
Magical
All right.
mech users. Yeah, that'd be kind of cool, actually.
I tip my hand.
Yeah.
Like Shadowrun has a lot of apocalyptic things, and that could happen. There's plenty
They're
of
both-
space in the
they're both
Battletech universe for that.
Look, you may notice, look, Weissman is as close to a genius as anyone I've ever met, although I've hung out with Bill Gates and Jeff Bezos. But seriously, this happened. I swear, again, all of my stories are true, but they rarely show me in a positive light. But Jordan and I did a presentation to Jeff Bezos a few years ago, and Bezos he was silent through the whole presentation, which is very cool. Rich people often just interrupt you because they're
There's
He
Rich.
goes-
Yeah.
He just shut the fuck up, let us do our presentation, which was great. And at the end of his presentation, in front of some of his senior vice presidents, he just goes, that was intensely cool.
Mm-hmm.
I have no idea why I just told you that.
That's cool. though.
It's just because I think so highly of Weissman. Oh, I know what it was. It's about those universes again, right? Those universes are incredibly cool and look like they're different, but they have a lot of the same DNA in them,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
right? And that's why I bet you can blend those two together and make something real cool. You can do it. I can do it.
Probably, yeah.
I can do that. Huh. Okay. Well, that was fun.
All right. So the final thing we've written down, and then the script is officially over, and my Germanness has ended.
And so my watch has ended, and so my German
That's
has
the
ended.
reference. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you for catching my reference.
Yeah,
Usually
finally.
pretty bad.
The
so.
lights on him will shut down as well.
Yeah.
Just fade away.
Artificial intelligence, Mitch. Do you have any opinion if artificial intelligence would fit into the Battletech universe and how? Like full, true artificial intelligence.
That's a very funny question because that was a huge topic of conversation between me and Andrew not long ago. Went through an entire cigar with that one conversation. That's what the beta bot was. We were playing, we were playing around with that. But anyway, I think I know what I would do with it, and it would be this blend of human consciousness and artificial intelligence. Or, the idea is, look, it's 30-50 or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Well, 30-25. But I bet we could blend, man and technology together in a pretty interesting way.
Yeah.
That is more interesting than just HAL 9000.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Would I do it? Yeah. You know what? From a story point of view, maybe limited. But, what we have is somebody's getting married outside my window. I'm not shitting you. I'm looking out my window at the house next door.
Oh my God.
And there are people walking in a wedding dress with children carrying her train.
That's cool.
What is happening? We were on Battletech, right?
We're on AI intelligence, yeah.
Yeah. So, aliens, to me, don't have a part of the Battletech universe and shouldn't.
they don't.
This
They
is a
don't
story
exist.
about people. It's people in those houses. And the clans being this sort of existential threat, being what they were, they were the Mongol horde, right? That's the whole genesis of the clans. The Mongol horde versus the Romans, right? The Roman states, successor states. And, okay, that's been done. So what's the next big thing, right? Something in my
Apparently-
house just beeped.
Yeah,
This
something
place-
is coming
right.
self-aware.
Here's,
So.
that
There's
was
your AI
the
for you.
singularity.
Yeah.
Oh, that's the singularity. Thank you. Gotta go. I don't know. My house is empty of people, so that's not at all spooky. Anyway, I think a new sort of existential threat is what will move the Battletech universe forward, right? And so perhaps the rise of the machines, like Skynet, at least something like that, may be right, so that, you know, you still have to deal with all these people as you all have to do basically this giant co-op game.
Yeah.
Versus the AI.
Yeah.
Well, they do actually have. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, and I mean, the setting is there. We've had stuff like the Vegan Space Defense System, which is fully autonomous. Mm-hmm. So basically just that evolving, maybe getting control about one of those automated mobile shipyards, and suddenly you've got a story.
Yeah, somebody does.
Yeah.
Are you listening, Catalyst? Are you listening, Catalyst? A dramatic change to the lore like that, I wouldn't do personally. I don't think that's my place to change Battletech that way, right? That's the closest I'm going to come to is the Argo.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. So that's something that Catalyst
and throwing the Lord Commander into Flashpoint, right? That's as close as I come to like creating new canon that way or something.
So I guess I've got one final question, Mitch.
Please.
How did you like it today? Did you enjoy your stay?
Here?
Yeah.
I laughed my way through the whole thing. Yeah, I loved it. It was a great time.
Thank you.
Yeah.
No, you guys had great questions, and you allowed me to be myself. You know what I mean?
That's all I want.
I don't like to be controlled. You know, no, I wanted to have fun with you guys, and I totally did. Absolutely. I regret nothing. This was the 100th podcast of, what's the name of this fucking thing again?
First Circuit Podcast.
The First Circuit Podcast. I've been your guest, Mitch, and with me is Byter and Ian and Bob, and there's a lot of love in this room. Thank you for tuning in, and thank you for playing Battletech and for liking the Battletech universe.
Thank you. Very nice.
And thank you, Mitch, for being here. It was an absolute blast. And I've learned a lot about marriage today. So that's cool.
Love and marriage, love and marriage.